Countdown. Well, the countdown to NFL's negotiation period continuing starting today at noon Eastern. And as promised, Dan Graziano rejoining the program to speak of wide receiver one out there in Philly. For now, of course, we're talking about A.J. Brown. Dan, it's the question, will he or won't he return? Why is today absolutely massive?
Because today at noon Eastern is when teams can start to get some idea what their other options are. So if you want a wide receiver and you're trying to get A.J. Brown and you know you may need to go to plan B, this afternoon is when the Patriots have been talking to the Eagles about A.J. Brown. This is no secret. If they feel like they can't get him and they want to go spend free agent money on someone like Alec Pierce, then they would probably need to know that this afternoon, because that's probably when Alec Pierce's market starts to move, and that probably takes them out of A.J. Brown. So while things seem to have cooled on the A.J. Brown front over the weekend, only takes one phone call to heat him back up again. We'll see what happens here in the next few hours, but it is certainly possible that teams that are interested in A.J. Brown move on to other options today.
Speaking of moving on to other options, where do the Cowboys now pivot after missing out on Max Crosby?
Yeah, they will. The Cowboys are looking for edge rush help. They're also looking for linebacker, cornerback, and safety help. We all know about their defense from last year. So people will connect them, I think, with Trey Hendrickson, the veteran edge rusher from the Bengals. But he's a little older than guys they usually pursue in free agency. So I might look at edge rushers that are a little bit in the mid to late 20s ranges in terms of their age. And remember that the Cowboys have a lot of needs on defense. They took a big swing at Max Crosby because they felt like he was a difference maker. If they don't feel the same way about the other edge rushers on the market, they may pivot and spend more at cornerback or spend more at linebacker. A lot of needs on the defensive side of the ball for Dallas in free agency and in the draft.
Jerry says he's spending this offseason. Hey, what is the likelihood that Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III is not back in Seattle next season?
It sounds like a strong likelihood. It sounds like he's going to hit the market. And if he finds what he's looking for on the market, then I do believe he will leave Seattle. Now, Breece Hall got a $14.3 million franchise tag from the Jets last week. So if you're a free agent running back who just won Super Bowl MVP, you are trying to reach or top that number. We'll know a little bit more today on whether Kenneth Walker can do that. If the market doesn't materialize for him, he could theoretically go back to the Seahawks. But it sounds like both sides are looking at other options at this point. Teams we're hearing for Kenneth Walker include the Commanders, possibly the Giants, the Titans. I do think there will be teams interested. The question is, how high does his market go? And if it goes past a certain level, then it's obviously something Seattle's not comfortable with, or they would have signed him by now.
Nobody stays on the pulse better than Dan Graziano. More with Graz, 8 a.m. Eastern on Get Up. Graz, much appreciated. The next Sports Center, 2 p.m. Eastern. Up to the second breaking news as the NFL's negotiation window begins. Sports Center, 2 p.m. Eastern. Amina Smith, Brian Custer on ESPN2.
Sports Center
truly picks up today. The negotiation window officially begins at noon Eastern time. NFL insider Dan Graziano joining us live on Sports Center AM. QB or not QB around the NFL? Dan, what does the future hold for some of these established signal callers who could be on the move? Why don't we start with Kyler Murray?
Yeah, let's start. It'll be a crazy day. This day is kind of the Sabres lightning of the NFL offseason. So Kyler Murray is a big domino, and I think he's on the list in terms of the Minnesota Vikings and their desire to bring in a veteran quarterback. Kyler Murray will be released on Wednesday by the Cardinals. You can sign him for minimum salary because the Cardinals are guaranteeing him so much money, and they have to pay that. Anything he makes from his new team would be offset against that. Watch him in Minnesota. It would be a place he would like to go, and he might be a veteran that they could plug in ahead of J.J. McCarthy and maybe do more than they did last year. Another guy on the Vikings list, though, don't overlook the possibility of Geno Smith, also going to be released on Wednesday by the Raiders. He's also got guaranteed money and could be signed for minimum salary as a result. So he could be the guy that the Vikings look to as well in terms of their search for a veteran. Those are the two names I would keep an eye on for Minnesota, and I would think that neither one goes anywhere until they know what the Vikings want to do. Another guy who's almost certainly going to be released from his contract on Wednesday is Tua Tagovailoa, who has $54 million in guaranteed salary from the Dolphins this year. I don't hear his name as much as these other two. I'm sure Tua will land somewhere, but as of right now, he doesn't sound like he's in the same kind of conversations in terms of somebody bringing him in with a real chance to start right away. I think he could be more like a one of these reclamation projects we've seen in recent years, go somewhere and hope to turn it around quickly, or be thrown into a sort of a mix, a camp competition with other guys that maybe emerge as a possibility of a starter.
From a reclamation project to almost a rebirth in Green Bay, one of the more intriguing quarterbacks in free agency is going to be Packers' Malik Willis. Who are the teams to watch for him?
Arizona's the one you hear the most. They obviously need somebody with Kyler going. The coach is Mike LaFleur, whose brother is Matt LaFleur, who's the Packers coach, and that's where Malik Willis was the last couple years. The question with Willis is, what's the market for a guy with 6 career starts over 4 years? Obviously, he showed a lot in the time we've seen him play in Green Bay, but how much are you willing to spend on a guy like that who's still a projection at this point in his career? Arizona makes some sense, potentially the Jets. We'll see what the market is for Malik Willis. It could be a situation like Justin Fields last year, where he gets like a 2-year, $20-25 million a year thing, and then see if he can build off of that.
That's Dan with the pulse of potential quarterback moves. Not going far, going to be back shortly with the latest on A.J. Brown and the chances it could be by.
Start your free agency. The contact period begins Monday at noon Eastern. During that 2-day window, teams are allowed to negotiate with players. So while the new league year doesn't start till Wednesday, which is when moves can become official, we'll start getting news of impending deals starting tomorrow. Our senior NFL insider, Adam Schefter, he's always busy, but that's about to ramp up even more so now. And in fact, Adam, we have some contract news tonight. What can you tell us about the Rams' newly acquired corner, Trent McDuffie?
David, he's now the highest paid cornerback in NFL history, agreeing tonight to a 4-year, $124 million deal with $100 million guaranteed. The Rams traded for him this past week and now do a deal for him days later. He figures to be a central part of their defense as they try to get back to the Super Bowl, which is in Los Angeles. And this deal has certainly gotten notice around the league. Christian Gonzalez in New England, Devin Witherspoon in Seattle. They'll be trying to do new deals this offseason, and that becomes the starting point.
All right, the price of cornerbacks just went up. You broke the Max Crosby trade to Baltimore Friday night. What are you hearing now about a potential A.J. Brown deal?
Listen, the Philadelphia Eagles have talked to teams, but they've maintained all along that they wouldn't do a deal unless it made sense for them and they got what they wanted. So far, they have not. But the new league year is getting underway this week. Conversations go on. We'll see if there's a team out there that can make it worthwhile for them to pry loose A.J. Brown. Meanwhile, in Tampa, it certainly sounds like Mike Evans is poised to leave Tampa after a long, storied career there. The free agent market opens Monday at noon. He's allowed to talk to other teams, reach an agreement with other teams, and the feeling across the league is that there's a good chance that Mike Evans will be moving on from Tampa. As for Travis Kelce, the thought around the league continues to be that he will play this upcoming season. There's been no confirmation from him. This is what people believe. He has not come out and said anything yet on his podcast with his brother or anywhere else. But again, there continues to be a feeling that Travis Kelce will be back to play again this season after his wedding this upcoming summer, David.
Yeah, he's got a big year coming up. Finally, How about those Cowboys? They whiffed on Max Crosby. Now some chatter that they might pivot to another impact guy off the edge. What's the latest in Dallas?
Well, I think they really would have liked to have gotten the Max Crosby deal done. They offered a 1 and a 2. It didn't happen. They checked into Khalil Mack just to see if he might be available, but Khalil Mack got a deal done with the Chargers. So now you look at the pass rush market, and one of the top pass rushers out there right now would be Trey Hendrickson, the Bengals free agent defensive end pass rusher who can begin talking to teams at noon on Monday. Obviously, there should be interest in Trey Hendrickson. He's been waiting to hit the open market. He gets the chance to do that on Monday, and we'll see where he comes in. Look, Dallas needs a pass rusher. Trey Hendrickson's looking for a home. Let's see how this all plays out here in the days to come.
And we've seen Jerry Jones say he's going to be aggressive in this free agency. We'll see if a splash move is in the offing for the Cowboys. Adam is going to be there for all of it as, again, the negotiating window starts noon Eastern on Monday.